What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Razor Sharp Productions channel. Sorry, I'm very tired. Didn't get to sleep very well last night. It's been cold in this house. Had to put on my hoodie in my office. So, fun stuff. But hey, we're gonna go over some Lightroom stuff today. We're gonna go over those tips and tricks, show you how I edit my photos, hopefully give you some insight on how to edit your photos in the future, especially if you're just getting started with this. Don't use Photoshop. Use Lightroom. That's my own personal opinion. I love the shit out of Lightroom, and I think it is very intuitive. The tools that you need, pretty much you have everything you need right here within this one program. We're gonna go over the basic editing techniques that I like to use on my portraits, and then all of the simple stuff. We'll get into more detail and more refined things in later videos, but let's hop into it. Why wait? Let's do this. All right, so first things first, there's multiple ways to import into Lightroom. This is my way of doing things. So we're in the library. I'm gonna open up a different folder here from my external hard drive. So we're gonna edit my self-portrait, easy peasy, click and drag it in. When it pops up, you're gonna see that it's showing literally every picture that I took, but if I scroll down, it only has the one highlighted. So when you see this page, first time I saw this, it freaked me out because I was like, I don't wanna import all those. It's only gonna import the one that you clicked and dragged in there. If you wanna add more, you can. So we're gonna import. It's gonna take a second. Cool. So we have multiple timelines. You got your navigator up here seeing exactly what you got clicked at the moment. You got another timeline down here because once you click in and you double click, that goes away. So if you want to click here, or you can use the arrows to go left and right. So first thing you're gonna do once you import it, we're gonna hop over to develop, and this is gonna be our editing screen. On the right hand side, you can see that we have the very basic editing tools. We got our histogram up here to help you see where your shadows are blown out and your highlights are blown out. We don't have any blown out highlights, but we do have some really dark shadows over here. That's really good to know, especially if your screen may be not calibrated correctly. So keep that in mind. These are some of your tools up here. We got our crop, we got spot removal, got red eye reduction, you have some masking, you got the paintbrush over here as well, so you can add specific edits if you don't want to do edits the full thing. So I'm going to take that away, and what I like to do is I kind of like to start literally top to bottom, and then I'll kind of go around. Once I'm changing some of the settings around, you'll have to fine tune other ones and kind of go back, go forward, hop ahead, go all the way back to the beginning. So we're just going to start from the top. Right now I do like this color. I might warm it up just a little bit, give my skin, because I am very, very pale. I'm going to bring the exposure down just a little bit because I want to pop up my shadows. Now if I bring that all the way up, you can see it brings out even my shirt, the background, all of that. So I don't want that too much. I just want to bring out just a little bit so you can see my eye a little bit better. Now sometimes I'll use this contrast slider, but I really enjoy using this tone curve. So as you can see, we also have the same histogram that we have up here, but down here, and this is based off of your highlights and your shadows, so your contrast. We're gonna make a little S curve. I like to bring this down just a little bit so you can see the darks, and then pop it right here, and it's gonna bring that up. Now that's just a little bit too much for me, so I'm gonna bring that down just a little bit, like the slightest. And if you see, you can get like your midtones here, you can get really high highlights. So I want it about right here, and then I'm gonna go up here and I'm gonna bring that contrast down just a little bit so it's not as intense. My shadows are good. I'm gonna bring my blacks down a little bit because I want the black of my shirt and the background to go down a little bit. I want the black over here on my hat to go down as well. And then I like to do the detail. So I like to bump up the contrast. If I bump it all the way up, you can see it literally like blows out my wrinkles like nobody's business. This kind of looks gross. Sometimes people use this for like fitness and stuff. It makes it look more rugged and more crazy. So there's definitely a style for that. If I were to go all the way to the left, I look like a porcelain doll. It's kind of gross. So if you are in this position where you're moving things around and don't know where to put them back, or don't want to fine tune it back in the center, if we go here, you double click on clarity or any of these names, it'll bring it back to 0. So don't forget that. That is a very good tool. Double click that. So I'm going to bring my contrast up quite a bit because I want to see the detail in my hat, I want to see the detail in my eyebrows and my mustache and all that fun stuff. Rather than it being super contrasty and very defined, I'm going to bring the texture down a little bit to soften the lines and stuff on my face. So as you can see, it's very, very subtle. Nothing crazy, but again, just soften me out. And if I were to bring this back down, you can see that it's way too soft. So that kind of gives it like a fine medium. And again, use this time to trial and error. Slide it all the way to the left, slide it all the way to the right, see exactly how it works, and then fine tune it from there, because trial and error, failing is the way that we learn. Next, I'm going to go into vibrancy and saturation. Now, the difference between the two, saturation is just kind of really pushes in color into your picture. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's way too intense. I like never touch the saturation unless if I want to bring it like down to a really cool monotone kind of feel to it. But if you bring the saturation up, you see how it just gets me orange, it's neon colors, it's really gross. So I'm gonna double click that. And in vibrance, it's gonna bring the color up, but not as intense, and it's gonna be very, very subtle. So now if you look on my face, and then right here, I got this blue key light that's behind me, but it doesn't look really blue right now. But if I bring the vibrance up, you can see it starts turning that nice kind of teal blue. It's bringing my face a little bit orange, so I'm going to come back up here. I'm going to cool it off a little bit. It's a little on the purple side, so I'm going to bring my green down just a little. Again, you want this to look natural. You want it to look like my skin tone. I am pretty pale, so I kind of bump the warmness up on myself because I know that's what I would prefer people to see. I know that I look like a ghost, and clearly -9-degree weather. There's not a lot of sun here, so well, there's actually 300 days of sun here in Colorado, but right now it is cold as shit. So that's the way that I do that. Again, everything kind of went a little bit dark, so I'm going to bring my exposure up just a little bit. And now you can see on my nose and the bridge and my cheek right here, our highlights are just kind of blown out just a little bit, and it's getting a little too intense. So I'm going to take my highlights or my whites. We're going to kind of test around. We're going to bring those down just a little bit. You can see that it brings my nose and my cheek so it's not as intense and as bright. If I bring the whites down, ooh, yeah, do you see that? See, we're going to zoom in right here. So if you look right here in this area, you can see it brings it down and brings it to a nice, simple, like barely any highlights, nothing too crazy. Man, that's cool. So we're going to go to before and after. If you hit Y on your keyboard, it'll show you the before and after. You can see, again, I was super pale. I'm looking a little red, so I'm going to bring the green just a little bit. Yeah. Now I don't look as pale. This up. Cool. We're gonna go back. Since I do have the color in my hat, and there's some cool blues, there's some really beautiful reds and everything, we're gonna make those pop just a little bit. So I want the blue to come out just a little bit more. So we're gonna go into HSL color. You're gonna click HSL. Probably see it like this, but I like to hit it on all so I can just see what's going on. We got hue up here. Hue is the actual color that you're changing it to. So if you want more of a pink or more of a red, you're gonna change the hue. If you want more saturation, so brighter pop your colors, or more monotone and black and white kind of coloring, you're going to change the saturation. And of course, luminance, that is the brightness of the color that you're working with. So rather than trying to figure out what blue this is and how this is a green and what this is over here, Lightroom has a really cool tool. So if you click hue and you click that little thing, you got a little tiny crosshatch right here. And I'm going to go into that blue, and as you can see on the right, it's highlighting exactly what we're putting that point onto. So we got the reds, you got some yellows over here, got some greens and blues. So I want those blues to really come out. So I'm going to click it and drag it, and it's going to bring that up. And since I have that blue back here, I'm also going to click this, click and drag. Yeah, I want it more blue rather than the teal. You can see it turns like green. I want it blue. I like blue. Then we're going to go into saturation, do the same kind of thing. I'm going to go over here, we're going to saturate it, bring up the saturation. Now you can see my hat looks badass. And the cool part is, since I have blue eyes, it's kind of making my eyes a little bit blue too. Now if you want to change the luminance of it, you can brighten it, you can bring it down. So you can see in my hat and on the side of my face. It doesn't do a whole lot, but it really focuses in on only that blue. So it doesn't touch my face, it doesn't touch anything else, just works on that color. So if you want to really focus in on certain colors and everything, I recommend doing that. Next we are going to go into the effects. I like to put on a vignette on pretty much anything that I have. So I'll bring that down a really solid amount. I like to feather it to 100, and then I change the midpoint. As you can see, it gets closer to my face or further away. I want to bring it in because, again, I don't really care about the background. There's not a whole lot going on here. You can kind of see that, but it's a portrait of me, so I really don't care about that. People are looking at my beautiful face anyway. So I'm just going to turn that off so you can see it really brings it in and focuses your eye onto my face. Just to go over this, I want to make my eyes pop a little bit. So we're going to come over here into the brush tool, and I have a bunch of different specific edits that I made to these myself. You can go in there, you can restore presets, you can delete them, rename them, save new ones, all that fun stuff. So please, if you click on something and you don't like how it looks or the way that the tools are, you can reset that, you can save them to a new preset, all that fun stuff. So don't let that worry you too much. I like to go over to the eye enhance, and as you can see, it's going to start where it thinks it should be. I'm going to bring this down to really small. We're going to just get my eyeballs. So as you can see already, it kind of brightened my eyes a little bit, but I want to just bring out the blue because I do have blue eyes. And in this, that does not look like blue eyes. So whenever you're editing these photos, I personally like to keep it as real as possible. Sometimes there's room for really cool edits and doing different stuff, changing the eye color, taking out colors here and there, adding a different colored shirt, you know, all that fun stuff. But me personally, I really like showing the world what I saw that day in the picture that I took. So rather than trying to make it something that it's not, I just try and enhance everything. I try and use Lightroom for enhancement and bringing back those colors, bringing back those details. So I don't like to go too crazy with this. My eyes are very blue, so I do kind of go crazy with the blue here. We're going to bring down the color already. That's like beautiful. A little too much because they're not like crazy blue. You can change the hue and saturation, everything, and you know, we can go to like a really, really blue. Now you can see right here I got a little zhuzh on my eyelid. On a Mac, hit and hold option, you can see that turns into a minus from a plus, and I'm going to go in there and I'm just going to take that off because there we go. I don't want purple eyelashes. That's a little bit too much, a little bit too blue, but since I changed the hue, I'm just going to bring down the saturation. You can see it turns more of the green, but I feel like that's pretty. There we go. What's up? Do it look the same? So that's how I edit the eyes. My teeth are just a little too yellow. Don't judge me, okay? I do everything I can for these motherfucking teeth, but they're a little bit yellow because of the white balance in here. I used more of a warm tungsten light for my photo. So I'm gonna come in here, I wanna just whiten these up just a little bit. Don't judge me. I'm gonna go over teeth whitening. Now, this is a preset that came with Lightroom. It is way too intense for me, so I always edit this and I haven't made a new preset from it, so I'm gonna show you that now. So if we go into here, oh God. Promise they're not that yellow. Gross. Welcome to the wonderful world of being a photographer. You see how many people's like shit is actually yellow. It's kind of crazy. So if we went back to normal saturation, I don't really like the exposure being up because that makes my teeth look like they're glowing, and I don't need that. My teeth are not immaculately white, but they're not like super dark white. So I want a nice easy medium. So I'm just going to take this back, lose the color just a little bit. There we go. Nothing crazy. Again, turns a little bit white, but it's better than this like orangish yellow that I was getting from the light that I had used that day. So now if I go up here, I do have a little bit of a blemish. We're going to use a spot removal tool. Look at those eyes. Damn. You use a spot removal tool, and we're going to scroll it down. And all you got to do, click on that guy. It's going to pop the area over here that it's going to remove and duplicate and then kind of blend in. So if you got different little spots that you want to take off, like that could be one, you can move this over here. But if you see, if I were to take this and I moved it like on my eye, you can see that it kind of blends it in with the texture of my eyeball. So make sure that it's on a similar spot that you want it to do. And again, it does a very good job. It's very rare that the spot removal actually messes up. So that is going to be a huge tool for you, especially if you got those random flyaway hairs, people who don't shave like me. And then you can go in, click those away. Me personally, I just have a scruffy face. This is the first time I've actually grown hair in my entire life, so I kind of like it. I'm going to keep the scruff, but some people don't like that, so I'm just showing you a little bit on how I go about spot removals. Bam! Now if we pull back, all gone. So now I got my bright blue eyes, we got the nice white teeth, we got the awesomeness. See, my teeth are even a little too crazy. That's a little too much. There we go. See, it's nothing crazy, just small little tiny enhancements, tiny little details. We're going to go to before and after, hit Y. Nothing crazy. We didn't change a whole lot. We just enhanced. We made my face a little softer because the detail on these cameras are just immaculate. We made the color pop on my hat. We made my teeth just a little bit wider. And we made my eyes the actual blue that they are. So I hope this was a lot of good information. Again, this is just the very basics of editing photos. Everybody does it different. Go out there, fail, try it, do the extremes of each one, blow up the exposure, bring down the contrast like crazy, because who knows what you're gonna actually find by doing all of that. So if you haven't yet subscribed, go ahead and click that subscribe button, follow along, and we'll be posting more tips and tricks here soon. Hopefully we can give you guys some insight and some information on how to get into the photography world, not only using your camera, but post-processing, editing your portraits, your landscapes, all of that. I guess that's it. Hope you guys learned a lot. Later.